Hey, I've been expecting you. Yeah, with an E, right? Absolutely. Yeah, full physical exam, we can hop right in. Oh, no, you're not here for your yearly physical. Sleep. I get it. I have, in real life, real life, a circadian rhythm disorder, diagnosed insomnia. I've been diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome, obstructive sleep apnea, pretty much all the things. So, I get it. I really do get it. Okay. How long's that been going on for? Okay. Can I just look at your shoulder here? Well, while you're talking to me, I thought I would actually look at your scalp here just because I thought I saw. Okay. No head injuries or anything like that. Okay. I'm sorry that happened, though. Yeah. It can be very difficult to get good sleep. It can be, like, impossible for some people. I'm going to ask you a few questions, okay? I'm going to work on my computer over here while I ask you my questions, okay? So, firstly, what time are you going to bed every night? And what time are you getting up? And is that consistent? Is that the same every night? Okay. I see. What is the latest before you go to bed that you are having alcohol or caffeine? Or tea either, actually, even though there's some tea that only has, I think it's theobromine in it. Theanine, not theobromine. And there's other tea that also has caffeine in it, right? I hope it's not too distracting. So the reason I asked that is because the latest, I never want to make your sleep problems like your fault. So sometimes people get annoyed. But it's important to go through, there's a couple scales it's important to go through. It's important to go through the stop bang. I like to go through an Epworth sleepiness scale. I like to do a physical exam, make sure that we've measured your neck circumference. There's a couple things that I like to make sure that we've done. And while we are doing those things, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm sorry, not all doctors are very listening-y, to put it in a certain way, and that can be frustrating. Yeah. So, the latest that you should be having alcohol or caffeine before you go to sleep is about 4 to 6 hours before, right? And ideally, everyone should be getting that 8, right? But teenagers, young adults, folks whose brains haven't completely finished developing, because your neurons don't actually complete their plasticity if you're a male until like 24, girls a little bit earlier, like 20, 23, 24, 25 for males. So your brain hasn't actually finished, forming its frontal cortex, the part of your brain that really does the most rationalization and cognition, right? So those people need some extra sleep. a problem is, like, in a lot of societies, yeah, you can hear my my little birds next door. We're also babysitting some birds as well. I hope they're not too unpleasant to sound. Yep. I am going to wash my hands before touching you. I am a little bit sniffly. So, but I've been tested. I don't have COVID or anything like that. I actually just got myself, just tested myself yesterday. So, but I still don't want you to get any kind of sick. So, hands are going to be washed, and so forth. Things are going to be good. Yeah, exactly. I can actually. No, not necessary. Okay. Okay, yeah. It's totally fine. So, let's go back to the questionnaire. Any lights in your room of any color? Okay. And then at night, when you are trying to fall asleep, when is the latest that you look at a screen that emits blue light? Well, blue light has apparently been linked to sleep difficulties. That's why some people will put, like, when they watch their ASMR or something, they will make sure they have a yellow filter over top of their screen. It's actually really not, it's really better to listen to your ASMR than watch it when it gets to a certain time at night. Like, if you're trying to get those tingles, that's a different thing. Like, just for relaxation, like late afternoon, you're kind of tired, you come home, you just need to chill, you can take a, curl up with a cup of tea. Yes, I do have a tea shop. If you want to know about it, I always do individual consultations for that, but that's tinglesteed.com, but that's neither here nor there. But you can sit there with your ASMR. That's a good time to get those theanines, those caffeines, to get you a little boost, and then just, like, especially something tingly, already tingly, like peppermint or ginger, and then you kind of sit and let your, just let the tingles happen. I'd love to do an experiment, which I haven't had an opportunity to do, but I'd love to do an experiment where you take the peppermint and, like, dab it on your forehead, because it's a naturally chilling and menthol type, that's where menthol comes from, and gentle whispering, and I think other folks had mentioned, like, having a cool room seems to be helpful for tingles, and because it's already tingly and it already stimulates the nervous system in certain ways, I would not be surprised if I have found that it makes the ASMR sensation more. That is what I have found. But I haven't seen a study on it. Okay. Well, and a cool room is better for sleeping anyway. So if you're going to go to sleep, your room should be cool. Yep. Alright. Okay. How much do you weigh? Do I have your vitals here? Oh yeah. Got them from my medic. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, and your biological sex actually makes a big difference in your sleep apnea. Yeah. So that's a factor too when we're looking at the stop bang. Any personal history of hypertension? No? Okay. Looking at your blood pressure here today. Okay. I'm actually going to clean my hands off, And I'm actually going to start by looking at your neck. I'm going to look in your throat, and we're going to do a heart health examination, okay? Yeah. So, and since you've been having the head, like, feeling foggy in the morning, I'm going to check your head, look in your ears too. I just have a little hunch. And I'd like to listen to your lungs too. Yep. Sound good? Okay. Yeah, my hand sanitizer. Would you like some? Yeah, I can get you some. There you go. It's always important to get kind of partway up the wrist and between all the fingers, underneath the fingernails, all that stuff is important. Okay. Let us measure your neck. So, I have the doctor bag. You don't see these as much anymore, but it was important to me. The symbolism of it was very important to me, so I have one. I don't remember if someone got it for me or if I got it for myself. Where is my tape measure? Here's the pulse ox. Can I have you just put this on your finger? Yeah, I know they already got vitals, but we'll get another set. Right. Just right on your finger there. Perfect. Yep. Here it is. Just going to along here. Just gotta thread this behind your neck here, okay? Yeah, 15 is what we worry about, think about. Yeah. Okay. 15, 16. Yeah. Let me just note this down. And I keep looking at your hair is awesome. I really like your hair that you have going on right now. It's really, really neat. I kind of can't take my eyes off of it. It looks good. It looks good. So I'm just going to check your shoulder tension here. Some of your neck tension. Some of that good stuff. You know how it is. And I don't always take this, but it's because I sometimes I've seen enough things when it comes to sleep that sometimes there's other things that we need to talk about. So that's why I'm just kind of feeling the tension around your neck and so forth here. And then kind of for I'm just going to kind of be up here in your scalp for a second. I don't want to mess up your hair, so. Sorry, I also don't want to bump your head. Okay. But generally, otherwise, Yeah, I hear you. Video games, cell phone, watching TV in bed. So, it's one that I'm guilty of myself because since I was bedbound for 2 years with how severe my fibromyalgia and PTSD were, and in some ways still are, my whole life was from my bed. So I get that. So, everything isn't going to be exactly the same for everybody. But in general, bed should be for sleeping and intimacy. And if you are finding that you're having trouble sleeping, you should try not doing other things in bed first. If you have like a comfortable easy chair next to the bed where you can sit and play games as you're getting ready to sleep, that could be ideal so you can be comfortable. That's the setup that I have now. If you've tried that, so my thing for you is if you try that just at least like a month, not doing it in bed and see, or only doing it in bed and not doing video games in bed. Try that for a month and then see how you feel. Because, if that's the thing that could be improving your sleep and changing your quality of life, why not do it, right? Day naps. And that's another thing. Some people like a nap is really helpful for them, right? Yeah. Sorry, my hands are a little dry. So I'm just kind of rubbing them. Yeah. But in general, if you are having trouble sleeping at night, day naps are not a very good idea. Do you have any sleep rituals before you go to bed? Do you know any special breathing techniques, pranayama, ujjayi, anything like that? Any kind of... Okay. Having a regular routine can be kind of like the Pavlovian dog. The experiment where every time the bell rang, they would show dogs meat, and dogs began to associate meat, like the bell, with meat, right? And they would salivate because of the bell. Your body also will have these kind of effects, right? These kind of things. So, excuse me, I'm pretty tired. So, if you can create the same ritual every night before you go to bed, your body develops this like Pavlovian adjustment to it, right? How about clock watching? By clock watching, I mean, are you like lying there awake, staring at the clock? Yeah. So if you're in bed and having trouble sleeping, there's two things that are not helpful. One, look how weirdly much longer this finger is than the other finger. This was always a problem for my cervical exams. I'm still really self-conscious about this finger disparity. Don't get me wrong, I don't want anyone to chop it off, but it bothers me. Anyway, that's not one of the two things. So one of the things that does not help is if you lie there thinking, I'm going to be so tired tomorrow, look, now it's 3, it's going to be worse, I'm not going to be able to function tomorrow. That thought makes it so much worse, because it skyrockets your anxiety. So instead, try answering, you know what, tomorrow may not be exactly how I expected or wanted it to be, but I don't know what tomorrow is going to be like, because that's the reality. You don't know what tomorrow's going to be like. You could, suddenly try a new food or have an adrenaline burst, or something could happen to you. You don't know. Or you might not even make it to tomorrow. Who knows? So, that's not meant to stress you out more. But it's a reality, right? The reality is you don't know, bad or good, what's going to happen tomorrow. So lying there telling yourself and predicting the future, not only is it unhelpful, it's kind of untrue. Yes, you can extrapolate based on past data what tomorrow might be like, but you're never going to be 100%, right? So that doesn't help. That's kind of a cognitive behavioral therapy concept, right, that you should know. Actually, there is an app about that for sleep. It's called the CBTI app, and you can actually download it from the, there's a whole website of mobile apps. It's for veterans, but the phone doesn't know if you're a veteran or not. And that app is really good. It's CBTI for insomnia. So anyway, that thought pattern does not help. So another possible replacement thought is, I am going to do my best tomorrow. Here's my plan for what I'm going to do. And here's how I'm going to take care of myself, even if I end up being tired. Right? So that I can still get done what I need to get done. I need to wash my hands again now that I have touched my face. So I'm going to... Do you ever, like... So I only started wearing makeup in my very late 20s. So I am very unaccustomed to how it feels on my face. And when I am sweaty, I feel very weird. Well, through most of my military career, I didn't. Not until like the year before my breakdown, because I was in Korea, which is like the land of beauty products, right? And I was really down one day, and I went to the PX, which is like, or the, like the exchange on base. And they have a makeup lady representing Shiseido there. It's in Korea, and she's representing Shiseido Japan. And I had been watching ASMR at night to kind of help deal with some of the stress of what was developing into night terrors. And to help deal with that, I was watching ASMR often, and I would see these women like gentle whispering or ting-ting or something doing makeup on my face, and I thought, be nice to get that done in real life. Not for the makeup, but to try to chill. And then I started liking, practicing it then for, because I wanted to make ASMR videos myself. And then I kind of started liking how it looked a little bit. Yeah. I don't actually wear it in my normal life because ain't nobody got time for that. And sometimes I feel afraid to look too good looking because, well, that's neither here nor there. It's good, well, because people can be predatory, is why. Anyway. Yeah, that's all. Okay, hands are clean now. Alright, so CBTI app, that is where we were last. Do you have a sleep diary, Fitbit, any other tracker like that? No. Okay. And how are you eating? There are foods that can make you have weird dreams. There are. Yeah. We will have to talk about foods and sleep at some point at length. But our time is already advancing, and I know you need to actually get examined. In general, if you eat a lot of like light veggie type foods at night, that should help. Drinking water, but drinking water early. You want to be drinking water throughout the day, and in the evening, in case you might be a nighttime peer, sometimes it's good also to stop drinking 4 to 6 hours before. Now that depends if you're going to have something like interstitial cystitis, or if you have prostate problems or something else, then you have a whole other, then it's really probably best for you to have your bladder kind of empty a few hours before if you can. And that sometimes won't make a difference, sometimes it will, but it's something to try, because that way you at least stay asleep. And how regularly are you exercising? Some people find they cannot exercise at night and still sleep well. Yeah, because of the endorphin rush. Other people find that exercising at night helps tire them out. So you gotta figure out what works for you. Do you snore? Well, that's for sleep apnea. And I also have a separate scale here for how sleepy you feel during the daytime. We're going to get to that in a second. Has anyone seen you like stop breathing during your sleep? Let's see your BMI. I don't think my medic got your height here, so I'm going to actually take my tape measure here and okay. Yeah. You can sit down, by the way. And what is your preferred term? Do you prefer the term little person, or is there a different term that you prefer? Okay. Well, sometimes I grew up with a girl with achondroplasia in my, I used to go to a Presbyterian church when I was younger. And looking back now, I often realize like how many things I did that were so insensitive and dumb. And like I wish that I had been things like people would be walking slowly and the other girls would be walking slowly in the group so that she wouldn't be left behind. And I'd be like going on ahead and just not thinking. It wasn't because I was impatient or I thought that they should leave her behind. It was because I literally didn't think to myself, hey, she can't go at that speed. So dumb stuff like that. And then just, there was a lot of dumbness, I feel like. I don't know, I feel like I was dumb. I feel like I did not think. That's still one of like the top most embarrassing. So that is why I ask preferred terms and things like that. So since you are just about the height of my exam table here, I didn't want to make you uncomfortable, and some of the stuff that I have set up here isn't like, they don't make it to be like super accessible when it really should be. Yeah, I do have an extra step stool though. We can actually go into the other exam room for the rest of the exam. Does that sound good? Okay. My other exam room has a better table bed. Let me finish the height thing. So I got your height. I do have your weight, so I should be able to calculate your BMI pretty easily. Oh, you're seeing a specialist for that. Excellent. Yeah. I really need to study up on my, health needs for people with achondroplasia, basically. Yep. I wrote a short story actually at one point. It hasn't come out. I wrote it years ago, trying to modernize or alter the story of, like Snow White and the Seven Dwarves to, like, what if we're really talking about, like, real little people? What would that actually be like? What if a little person was in love with Snow White and she wasn't in love back? Things like that. And so one of the reasons that I remember so strongly how stupid I had been as a teenager around this girl with achondroplasia is because, well, it's not one of the reasons, or one of the reasons like it sticks with me so much is I later became really frustrated because in medical school they were like recommending aborting babies with achondroplasia, as if like little people lives weren't worth it just because they're little people. And that made me so upset that I went back to her and started asking her some questions about like her experience, because I wanted to write something that was like pro little people and little people forward, because it made me very angry, the idea that somebody should be eliminated based solely on their disability without their having a say in it, like as if their life, it just essentially as if their life isn't. Anyway, that's all very complicated. Or, I mean, it's not complicated, it's pretty simple. Little people's lives are as valuable as anyone else's life, right? Simple, not complicated. And so as I was researching the story, I learned about like her love story, and her love story of how she fell in love with her spouse in some ways sounded a lot like she had started to love herself in a, like, rather than like, and see the beauty in someone who was like her. And that was really cool, because she had always been attracted to tall people, and she never wanted to be with somebody who was like herself, which to me that was like, huh. And then but when she met her husband and fell in love, he was a little person like she was. And I thought that was so cool, because it literally meant that she had come to love someone who was like her, which I saw that as an extension of her loving herself. And so I wanted to take that and her story and put that into the story of Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, right? So that's, anyway, that is why I asked, because it is important to me that, because I understand, even though I can't claim to understand like your experience, and I've already talked way too much about my perception of someone else's experience, it is really important to me, and these things have left a big mark in my brain of the importance of recognizing the importance of recognizing body diversity, basically. So, yeah. I talk way too much. Let's get into the other room. Thanks for understanding. I know it's a whole thing. Let me just make sure. I know I keep wanting to look at your hair because it is amazing, and I want to make sure also that I haven't messed it up at all when I was examining it. So just kind of want to check here and here. Okay. Let's head into the other room. Alright. So now you are comfortable on the exam table. I'm going to listen. Did I leave my stethoscope in the other room? No, I didn't. Okay. Alright. I'm all over the place today. Alright. Deep breath in. And out. And here, deep breath in. And out. Okay. Can you lay on your side here? Okay, good. I'm going to reach over. Just behind your back here. Deep breath in. And out. Again, deep breath in. And out. And here, deep breath in. And out. And here, deep breath in. Here, deep breath in. And out. Deep breath in. Deep breath in. And out. Deep breath in. Excellent. Okay. I'm going to switch to the bell. And I'm going to listen to your throat, okay? I'm going to listen two ways. First, I'd like to listen just to the sound of your blood in your throat. I know that sounds yucky. I'm actually listening to your carotids, not to blood in your actual throat. I like to listen to your carotids. And then, your eyes are amazing, by the way. Yeah. And then, after listening to your after listening to your carotids, I would like to listen to the air moving through your throat. Is that alright? Alright. Okay. Deep breath in. Very good. Okay. Heart time. Okay, and then over here by your left lateral sternal border. And then if I can have you just kind of push up on your pec, up here, so I can get underneath here. Great. And then just here on the side. That's for mitral valve stuff. I'm actually going to listen in your belly for your aorta, okay? Did your specialist tell you if folks with achondroplasia have a higher rate of aortic stenosis? Not stenosis, aortic, yeah, exactly. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good to know. I always think it's better to ask. Sometimes patients will have patients will just have a much better knowledge of things sometimes from having gone through it. That's why I like the work I do. What makes me best at the work that I do is that I am best at taking care of the illnesses that I have been through, right? That's just part of how it is, because I can understand it. So I think it's important as a physician to have some humility about what we need to learn more about and what we need to keep looking for. On the other hand, like, sometimes people will penalize you for not knowing something that they think you should know, but for me, that's on them. Like, I would rather, my goal is making sure the patient's taken care of, and if I don't know the answer, then I need to find it, or if I don't know the answer, I'm going to find someone who does. So we're kind of, I remember in medical school, I think my 4th year of medical school, I was asking a question to the chief surgery resident, and she turned to me and she said, "Your questions sometimes show how much you don't know. You should be careful with asking so many questions." And I have always thought that that is such a stupid philosophy. Like, yes, on the one hand, it's, really important to, like, study up on your own. But on the other hand, like, why am I here? Otherwise I don't. Now, I was at that point in time, like, I don't know if I was bothering her. I may have been bothering her, so don't be too hard on her in your imagination either. And she may have gotten the impression that I was trying to, like, suck up. And I may have been, if not trying to suck up, at least trying to, like, I don't want to say use her, but there is this tendency to look at your supervisor and just not see them as a person and see them as somebody who needs to like you, and then to do the things so that they like you, not to be genuinely helpful. And I think that's something that all type A personalities or all, like, high achievers have to be very careful of. We all like to say that we're not doing that. Sometimes we're doing that. And I don't know, because I can't remember what my state of mind was. I don't know if I was doing that. Usually I had genuine questions, but anyway. So that is why I asked about your specialist instead. Okay. I need to look in your throat, and I'd like to look in your ears. Is that all right? Okay. I'm actually just going to shine the light onto my ear thing directly down your throat. So no, based on the measurements and the questionnaire, you don't need a sleep study, but I am a big fan of making sure we've looked at everything before just... And the clinical day's a little slow today, so I have time to make sure that you get a little bit of extra time. I would usually go a little bit faster. I would just eliminate all my own chit-chat. Alright. So, you just open your mouth and say, ah. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm just trying to evaluate your Mullen body. I'm trying to see basically how easy it would be to intubate you, but as an extension, how weak your palate is. I'm not planning on intubating you, right? I'm trying to see, like, okay, is there anything I see that would make me want to send you to HENT or the sleep specialist? Let's take a look at your ears. Okay. Alrighty. You're actually pretty clogged up. You have a lot of cerumen in there. Are you feeling itchy at night? How about over here? I mean, like, I can't even visualize your tympanic membrane on that side. I can barely see it over there. So I can see that there's no erythema or edema of the canal at the part that I can see, but there is a lot of cerumen. Would you like to come back? Actually, you know, I have a cleaning slot open. Yeah, so we can look at your, we can clean out your ears right after this. Yeah. Let me finish your sleepiness scale here. Just some last questions. Yeah, for this, yeah, 16 is the cutoff. At 15, I start wondering and worrying. How likely would you be, and now my computer's over here now actually, so I'm going to type over here. How likely would you be to doze instead of just like feeling tired, like actually fall asleep if you're like sitting and reading? 0 would be never, and 3 would be high chance. 2 is moderate, 1 is slight chance. Oh, what's that? Oh, okay. Just something out the window. Okay. Okay. How about while watching TV? 3, 2, 1, or 0? Okay. How about while you're like sitting inactive in a public place, like a theater or a meeting? How about as like a passenger in a car for an hour without a break? As a passenger, not the driver. Okay. How about lying down to rest in the afternoon when circumstances permit? That's such weird wording on the part. When circumstances permit. I mean, all of these are when circumstances permit. You're not going to be in someone's car as a passenger unless the circumstances permit it, right? How about when you're sitting and talking to someone? Sitting quietly after lunch without alcohol. Okay. And how about in a car while stopped for a few minutes in traffic? Okay. So, adding those numbers up, you still don't need a sleep study. But I think there's a couple things we can do. One, I think you should try the CBT-IF for a little bit. what are you thinking about when you are trying to fall asleep? Okay. Huh. So I would try to make sure you're doing that stuff I asked you at the beginning, that sleep hygiene. I would try to make sure you are not doing any of that stuff that I said not to do. Try that for a month. And try to have a very, very regular schedule for a month. I know that's very difficult, especially when you work. So, I mean, that can make a big difference, but... And then try the CBTI app. Now, does that mean we're going to do nothing? No. A couple things. I think it would be good to have like a restful herbal in the evening. Something like a tea, that might be a good option. Yeah. Another thing, you can't do anything about the lights that are in your room. I actually have something for that. But for the restful herbal, I think, it can even be from the tea plant. So the tea plant generally has caffeine in it. White tea, green tea, and black tea all come from the same plant. Oolong tea does too. But black tea you should never have in the evening. It's got high caffeine content. Oolong also has fairly high caffeine content. Green and white tend to have lower caffeine content. The lowest caffeine content, so you're going to want to take them, but I would not take either of those super, gosh, my face is sweaty. I would not take either of those super late in the afternoon. But for the like anxiety thinky portion, I would take them in the afternoon. I would pause and have some so that you're kind of going into the end of your day a little bit calmer, and then see how you feel going to the evening. Drinking lavender, there's a lavender white tea that I love for this. I actually have it in my tea store. The reason I have it in my tea store is for that, for me. That's not a medical recommendation. I can't write you a prescription for lavender white tea and they get paid for it, right? But it is something, or at least I don't think that would be right, but it is something that is available that you can try. Just the lavender itself. There's no evidence that lavender essential oils, like no really good evidence. I shouldn't say no evidence. I should say the most honest thing to say is I have not seen a high quality study demonstrating that lavender essential oils not ingested help with sleep anxiety. I have seen high quality evidence, or at least medium quality evidence. I have read studies in which ingested lavender helped college students who were having trouble sleeping because of anxiety over tests. So that I have seen. Really try the CBTI thing. That I would highly recommend. If you are just going through a particularly stressful time right now, a little bit of hydroxyzine I can sometimes prescribe. I want to be super careful about trying medications until after we've made sure to optimize everything else, and then kind of go from there. So light is a big deal. If you can reset your light exposure in the morning and make sure you're outside and getting sunlight during the day, that has worked wonders for me and my circadian rhythm problems. I've also had a horrible vitamin D deficiency. So getting some outside time helped me a lot. Especially when I was in Paraguay, I slept so much better, and I'm actually quite afraid coming back to the States, where my lifestyle is mostly indoors because my work is mostly indoors. Because when I work in Paraguay, I'm working in indigenous communities, so I'm outside a lot. So, because they live outside. So, whereas here in the States, I work with you, and we're both inside. So, yeah, getting light, also getting not light is also important. Let me show you something. Okay, I got sent this for free by this company, Mantis Sleep. There were no strings attached. They said I did not have to make a review. They also said I did not have to, I did not have to like it. They just sent it to me. And I do like it, and so I asked them and said, hey, can I work with you guys? Because I do like this thing. Let me tell you what this is. This is a sleep mask, but it is not just any sleep mask. It is a sleep mask that has like speakers in it, so that you can listen to your ASMR without getting choked by your headphones at night. Right. So I think that's pretty cool. And so I've been trying it because I am always someone who, my arm gets sore at night because I'm sleeping with my arm over my face. And as a consequence, you know, that's a whole thing, right? I mean, this is really the trick to not get choked by your headphones while you're listening to ASMR, and earbuds fall out. This will not fall out. This is strapped to your face. These little things are adjustable, so you don't have to worry about if it doesn't fit your face. You can literally pull them off and put them where you want them on the mask. The initial configuration didn't fit my face because my eyes are small and such. And then in order to wash it, you can peel off the entire outside, just like that. See? You can peel that all the way off. I'm going to put it back on now because I don't want it off. But you can peel it off, and the outside is where the electronics are, and you peel those off. So it's Bluetooth, because the person who had picked them up for me did not save the packaging. It took me a very long time to figure out where the plug was to charge, and I was driving myself crazy. But it's here over the eye, just right there. See? Just right there. It's USB-C, so it's compatible with like pretty much anything right now. It's really easy too because you have increase your volume, decrease your volume, and on and off. And the pairing, the first time I tried pairing it, it took a little bit for it to recognize, but then it recognized afterwards. I was like wondering what these things are at first, because it's like, are they going to make it like uncomfortable for your head? This is cushiony that they don't, and these things are actually so you can move the speakers to find the perfect spot for your ears. The darkness is complete and absolute. They actually have the pocket designed on the side here in such a way that it tapers naturally with your face. Some like cheaper cups won't do that. So it tapers really nicely with your face and kind of lets your eye breathe also. Your eye doesn't feel nasty and stuck. I was surprised at how light it was. Since I am so sensitive to feeling things on my face, probably if I am okay with it, you will be okay with it too, but you know, we may have completely different experiences. I found it to be really nice because it's like total blackout. The question is, CPAP machine, and because of the way my CPAP machine fits with my nose, the cushioning, I haven't tried it yet with the CPAP because I haven't been very compliant with wearing my CPAP machine lately. Because as I've lost weight, I've found that I'm sleeping better because the obstructive sleep apnea isn't as bad. But the cushioning of the CPAP machine under here will just barely fit, and the straps will fit underneath. That will disrupt slightly with the mask, but otherwise, it should fit your sleep, most people's CPAP machine too. I'm probably gonna because I usually have to put like a pillow on my face or my arm on my face, and I'm probably not gonna be without this. I am probably gonna travel with it, because it is like being in my own little ASMR world. I really liked this, so I hit them up and I told them I would like to affiliate with you, and they said that they would get back to me. So if they said yes, then that means if you get one, I will get a cut of your sale. If they said no, that means if you get one, you just get one. You'll find out in the description below. I do have a discount code for you though. It is Rogue Sleep. ROGUESLEEP. So that if you wanted to get one, and you do not have to get one, it is not a medical recommendation. I haven't seen any official study on these. I will say though that medically, your pineal gland works, and the reason melatonin works is because melatonin is the thing that makes you, obviously it makes you go to sleep, right? Why is it naturally in your body? Well, because your pineal gland will release it when it's sleepy time. How does your pineal gland know when it's sleepy time? Your pineal gland gets signals actually from your ophthalmic, there's no such thing as ophthalmic nerve. There's the optic, well there is, but your optic nerve. They'll get signals from your optic nerve, and your pineal gland will pick up on light. Your pineal gland is very light sensitive. So when there is light, that will inhibit the pineal gland's action. It'll actually shut it off, which is really cool. And when there's not light, the sensor will release and it'll turn back on, and the pineal gland will release melatonin. Isn't that super cool? So if you want your body to release natural melatonin, your light and dark cycle is crazy important. And I know we don't tend to think a lot about light and dark cycles because we are humans who are, in my experience, at least in the US and Europe and a lot of I think higher income nations, it just seems like we're not super in touch with like how our bodies are related to nature. Unless people are super athletes, they seem to be super in touch with their bodies. Like birds and fish, reptiles will like die real quickly in the wrong light. Plants, obviously. Like, do we really think we are that different from the rest of nature that light doesn't matter? So I'm using this, and this is I'm very excited about this because this is something I'm using every night now. I'm probably addicted to it, and I can listen to ASMR through it. They also have a cooling mask, which I really want to try because my face gets hot. So, you know, if you get one, then maybe they will like me and send me a cooling mask. If enough of you get this. Just kidding. No, the real thing we're trying to save up for, honestly, is, as you know, right, I'm the medical director for a charity called Project Paraguay. They are a religious organization that supports Paraguayan churches that are doing aid. I'm only affiliated with the medical wing. What I do is essentially take care of how we get different medications down there, and we ran 2 big health fairs a couple weeks ago. They were enormous, but for me anyway, they were very big. We had all kinds of like health prevention. We got a cardiologist there. We were able to do ultrasounds on people to look at their babies. We even were able to look at a gallbladder, which is pretty cool. I think it went really well. And then a big project that I've been working on personally is looking at some of the social factors while I'm waiting for my licensing to transfer down there, because I'm licensed in Virginia and Texas. While I'm waiting for my licensing to really, all my paperwork to get done in Paraguay, been looking a lot at social factors affecting health disparity in some of these populations, right? Since I'm, well, I was in the military, and I was a medical forensic examiner in the military, so a lot of work with people who had suffered abuse, trauma. The populations where I am trying to work in Paraguay have those problems and have a lot of it, and it's significant, and wow. But the thing that really I'm finding I'm needing like money for when it comes to this work, the admin expenses are crazy. I spent several $1,000s this summer working on admin, trying to get my, I think almost $2,000, trying to get my paperwork worked on, and it's still not done. I obviously had the airfare, and then we spent like another couple $1,000s on getting mosquito supplies there, getting medication passage for people to get to the doctor, paying for like educational training, getting like milk and food for some of the kids who like can't like afford to eat some days, like clothing. Like there's so many things that are so basic to health that like don't even get into the realm of like health and medicine, right? And then I had my appendix out while I was down there, and I had to pay out of pocket, and I'm gonna be able to probably get it reimbursed by TRICARE, but I overdrew my bank account twice in Paraguay this summer, so I am very determined to make money now because I really want to make this project work. And now the next thing is I'm saving up for it, and I'll talk with you about it at some point next time you come in. But a mobile clinic van is very needed. I need a transvaginal ultrasound probe because I have the transabdominal, in order that we can better identify like ectopic pregnancies for some life-saving, situations. And these things are very, very, very expensive. And I need to pay a driver. I need to pay somebody to do the work when I'm not there, like when I'm in the States, which is cheaper actually than, well, it's not cheaper than when it's cheaper than when I'm there, but I'm the doctor, so when I'm there, it's necessary for me to be there. So, oh, and I ate also. I had to eat, and my house got a horrible mold infestation, and I was sick multiple times, and all of that cost money. So, I have a new, what is it, I think somebody once said, oh, money isn't, I saw this on a dumb TikTok somewhere. I do not have TikTok installed because I do not want to be spied on by various governments, but because I'm already being spied on by one. I don't need to be spied on by 2 or 3 governments. Thanks for hanging out with me and letting me ramble. And, oh yeah, if you want to know more about the Paraguay stuff, if you are interested, the overall charity also provides scholarships for kids to go to school and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. That's projectparaguay.org. But my work, Finelli.com, you just look for the palm tree on the page and you'll be able to get connected there. Or you can go to byjenfinelli.com/youwantheroesandfairies with a dash between each word. And then I can email you every time I have an update on that, and I can send you sci-fi stories too. If you want tea, that's dinglestea.byjenfinelli.com. If you want one of these, there will be a link below. and the code that should get you a discount is Rogue Sleep. I really like these, and I'm going to talk about them more in the future because I love them. And I think, can I be real with you about these like earbud ads that every ASMR artist and their mother is doing? Those are not affordable. Those are expensive. So they are going to be cheaper than this. But if you're going to pay for an expensive earbuds, I want my earbuds to then also have a mask and let me sleep. That's me. That's just me. Otherwise I'm using, these. I'm going to use something cheap. I'm not going to use $50 to $100 to $150 little tiny thingies. But unless that's for a sports application, for ASMR, I'm going to want something that like isolates me and puts me in that space and just like I can be in that soundscape. So, for sleeping anyway, because you really shouldn't be looking while you're sleeping, you should be listening. So, alright, that's if you're serious about sleep. Ear cleaning, right through